Well, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you've had a healthy, safe, relaxed week. And it's great to be here with you on Shabbat to celebrate and pray together. I'm going to invite Joni to light the Shabbat candles. And if you have candles, you can light it with her.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Okay, let's sing how beautiful it is, how sweet it is that all of us are here together. Hine Matov, and you will find this, I believe, on page 10 or page 128. Hine Matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov mov. Ya la 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 la. Hine matov mov. Ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanaim. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanaim. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanaim. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanaim. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How beautiful this day is. Let's have a sweet Shabbat. Ma yafeh. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. 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 Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. If you have your book, let's turn to page 258 or 376. And this is a prayer for our country. There are actually two prayers that I'll read. One of them I sent out and should be familiar to you. For our country, thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. And let us all say, Amen. And now, as we're thinking about the peace we want for our nation and all people, we welcome the angels of peace with Shalom Aleichem, which we will find on page 24 or page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashared, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh B'Maruchu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh B'Maruch Hu. Tzeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lamai lamai lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lamai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lamai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai la la lai, yai. Peace to you, you angels of the Most High. Enter in peace. Bless all of us with peace. And when you leave at the end of Shabbat, allow your sweet peace to linger on for the rest of the week. Let's all stand up. Now we come together as a congregation to sing together the Baruch Hu. And we will find this on page 28 or 146. Yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 my, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adon Damai, Hamivavavavo Ramach, Baruch Adonai, Hamivorach, Hamivorach, Liolam Valednet, Hamivorach, Hamivorach, Le'olam Vavedmed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Page 30. Or 148. We bless God for all of creation. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot, the Lord of hosts, is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. 6 lines from the bottom, middle of the page in Hebrew. Ma'avir yamom, u'mevi lamayla, u'mavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo, elachai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu, tamid yimloch aleinu. Leolam vavet Baruch Atama Adonai Amariv Aravimim. Page 33 or 151, a meditation on Torah. Bottom of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34 and 35, or 152 and 153, we cover our eyes for the first 6 words of the Shema, and we focus on God being here with us right now, right here. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Together in English. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. The commandment to love God, top of 36 or 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayevu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha b'avava hayom alavavecha v'shinantam levademecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'adevmerech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam liot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'hineinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'sharemecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'heitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. The paraphrased translation of this on 37 or 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you're tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt. to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Song of Freedom, page 40 or 158, Micha Mocha. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha bailing madam bonai mi chamocha Neve darba kumbum desh no ratihilot ogose fele malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze Elianu ve'amevu Adonai yimloch Leolam Vaved V'nemar Kifada Adonai et Yaakov Ugialom Miyad Chazak Mimenu Baruch Ata Adonai Agal Yisrael Gimel Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Page 41 or 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Page 43 or 161, top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Together, Baruch Atah. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. V'al Yerushalayim v'al kol amo V'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 44, 162, middle of the page. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. So let's sing together this in Hebrew, V'shamaru. V'shamaru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asor et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti liyamav olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti liyolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz vayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, alai lai 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 lamai, lai 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 la la lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai la la lai, yai lai lai lai. As we've sung and prayed, this is a day for sacred rest. And I was just thinking, looking at the computer here, if you have trouble resting, if you don't know how to rest, looking back of me, you see Petey over there. He's got resting on Shabbat. He's got it down cold. So just look at him, see what he's doing, and try to do the same thing tonight and all day until tomorrow evening. Well, let's say the tefillah, the silent prayer, it's an individual prayer. We're guided by the words in the Siddur, the prayer book, if we have it, 155 or 167. Or if you have the big book, it's 273 to 286. We rise up for this. We include our own prayers silently. And when we've concluded our prayer, we sit down. If you're still praying, continue silently. And if you've completed your prayers, join with me. Lai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 ya la lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai lai lai lamai yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 ya la lai 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 yai lai yai la 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 lai yai lai la la lai yai lai 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 yai lai yai la 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 lai yai lai la la lai yai lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai la 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 lai 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 yai lai 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 Yai la 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 lai lai lai. Yai la 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 lai lai lai. Yai la 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 lai lai lai. Yai lai lai. Yai lai. Well, a few words of Torah. For the Torah reading for this week, part of the section is a part where God tells Sarah that she's going to have a child, which is wonderful, but she doesn't quite believe it, and she says, "How can that happen?" And she laughs inwardly, and God says to Abraham about what's happened, and he says that Sarah laughed. Sarah said, "No, I didn't laugh." God says, "Yes, you laughed." Um, to me, this section is it talks about well, it gives us reason to meditate on whether to lie ever. If we do lie, when? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? There may be times when it's maybe okay to lie, maybe. But let's think about it. So let me read this section. Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years, and Sarah had stopped having periods of women. So, actually, it actually starts when an angel comes and says to Abraham, "Where's your wife Sarah?" And he says, "They're in the tent." Then God says, "I will return to you next year, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. Now, Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. Sarah had stopped having periods, and Sarah laughed inwardly to herself, saying, "Now that I am withered, am I to have enjoyment with my husband so old?" Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Shall I in truth bear a child, old as I am?' Is anything too wondrous for the Lord? I will return to you at the same season next year, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah lied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was frightened. But God replied, "You did laugh." Okay. So some thoughts about this. One of the things is, I think that we can learn to this is don't lie to God. In fact, tell the truth to God. Tell the truth, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things that make you feel good, the things that make you feel bad. Pour your heart out. Prayer is supposed to be totally honest. With human beings, sometimes we worry they won't understand. God understands. God knows anyway. So don't lie to God, and use the prayer as an opportunity to pour out your heart. So we shouldn't lie to God. But are there occasions when we should lie to other people? Well, one of the problems with lying is it's really hard to hide. Now, Sarah was lying inwardly. Bikir B means inside. So I assume she thought that nobody would hear her laugh. But God can read our heart, can read our minds, and God can know that laugh. But we human beings, we can tell as well. Sometimes we think we're hiding our feelings, but we betray them. We may not be laughing out loud, but we may have a little smile. We may be rolling our eyes a little bit. Without meaning to, we may show that we're laughing, even though we think that we're hiding it. So to say you didn't laugh, that's a lie that sometimes you can't get away with. People can often tell. But even if you can get away with it, normally you shouldn't. Because when you lie, you get accustomed to trickery. You get accustomed to ducking out of responsibility for things. You get other people to feel suspicious, because if people know you're going to lie or suspect you're going to lie, they won't trust you. And when there's not trust, when there's a lot of lying in a society has a lot of mistrust, and it doesn't work well. And when people are suspicious, they think other people are lying, that makes them unhappy. It makes them feel like, what kind of world is this? So that lying really does cause harm. And yet, there are times when maybe a lie is okay. Now, we have the one lie that Sarah said, which was, I didn't laugh. But she did. And God told her, yeah, you did laugh. So that's one lie, but there's another lie here. God actually lies here. The Talmud talks about this, and Baba Metzia in the tractate in the Talmud, uh, and it says peace is a very good thing. Rabbi Yishmael says peace is a very good thing because Sarah said, "My husband is too old to engender children." God says to Abraham, Sarah said she is too old. God lied. Isn't that weird? God lying? But Rabbi Ishmael says peace is so good and preserving people's feelings is so good that sometimes it's okay, maybe, to lie. And that's what we call a white lie, or sometimes we call it a white lie. A lot of times people think, well, if I'm going to lose money and I lie so I can keep money, well, it's cheating or, well, it's lying, but it's a white lie. And it really isn't a white lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. One of the ways in which you can distinguish between circumstances where perhaps you should lie and circumstances where you shouldn't, if there's a time for selfish gain, don't lie. If it's all about you, don't lie. But if you're trying to protect the feelings of other people, if you're trying to create peace, that may be a time when you can lie or shade the truth. Many are familiar, I've talked about this a couple of times, the section in the tractate Ketubot in the Talmud, where Hillel and Shammai have a disagreement. What if the bride isn't so good looking? Should you say the bride is na'eh? According to Hillel, yes. You should say the bride is na'eh. Na'eh means beautiful. Na'eh means nice or fine or becoming. Shammai said, no, don't lie. Tell the truth. But Hillel said, you want to preserve the feelings of the bride. You don't want to hurt her feelings. That's a circumstance where it's okay to lie. And in fact, we all know about the classic situation of lying when a woman says, does this dress make me look fat? And we're always obliged to say, oh, no, not at all. Nearly always, unless the dress is terrible, and you can't get away with the lie. But normally to preserve feelings, to get people to feel good, you can lie or shade the truth. Although actually some people say that Hillel really didn't lie. The word that he used was the bride is na'eh. And like I said, the na'eh can mean beautiful, but it can also mean pleasing. And every bride, or almost every bride, if they're happy, they're pleasing. They make you happy. And another possibility is no matter how the bride looks on the day of her wedding, she looks beautiful if it's a good occasion because the bride is radiant, is giving out joy. So maybe it's not a lie, but if it is, if you're saving feelings and you're not being selfish, maybe it's okay. Now, Sarah told her lie because she was afraid, and that's another circumstance I think where maybe we should consider lying. Not in the case of lying to God, but suppose you're a kid and you have a parent who is abusive. You want to learn to tell the truth. But if you are going to be beat up or severely harmed by an abusive parent, maybe under those circumstances, you should protect yourself by telling a lie, hoping that you'll learn in the time to come. You want to be able to tell the truth. But in this particular circumstance, it may be okay to lie. Now, there's another kind of lying, which is more subtle, and that's lying to yourself. And the Sfat Emet, a Polish Hasidic Rebbe from the 19th century and I believe the early 20th century, he translated this a little bit differently. Sarah says, she says, I did not laugh because I was fearful. Now, the word fearful comes from the Hebrew word yirah. It can also mean awe. And Sfat Emet translates it like this. I didn't laugh at God because I was in awe of God. I couldn't have laughed. I couldn't have laughed. It's not possible. I have such reverence for God. It's impossible for me to laugh. But God knew she really did laugh. Rabbi Twersky, who talks about this, and he's a psychiatrist as well as a rabbi, I've mentioned his name before, he said this is an example of a psychological defense. We hide the truth from ourselves. And because we hide the truth from ourselves, we don't know ourselves as well. And maybe we cause ourselves problems, or we're not able to deal with things that happen. We need to understand ourselves in order to be wiser, in order to interact with people better, in order to live a good life. We need to understand ourselves. So Tversky says it's good not to lie to yourself. And he is a psychiatrist and especially works with alcoholics. And I think he was thinking about the denial that alcoholics have, and they should be confronted with the lie they're telling themselves and may believe. And I got to say, psychological defenses are there for a reason. Sometimes we lie to ourselves because the truth is too painful. The guilt we may feel if we fully own up to something we've done, we may not be ready to handle that guilt. To fully remember trauma, to lie to ourselves and say that the trauma, it wasn't that bad, it didn't happen. If we fully feel it, it might cause incredible unhappiness. Now, ideally, we should let go of our defenses and be true to ourselves and know what our true feelings are. But sometimes we need to hold on to our defenses because the truth at that moment, at that time, is too hard to bear. And so a therapist or a friend can help people to know the truth about themselves. But sometimes you have to be tactful and judicious and say, maybe this person has to lie to themselves right now. But hopefully in the future, they can face up to the truth. And if I try to tell them the truth, their defenses will come up and maybe it'll get nowhere. Let them live with the lie now, but gradually, let's help them in a safe way to be able to tell the truth to themselves. And as we mentioned, it is possible that Sarah lied to herself. And maybe that was good. Maybe it wasn't. I think the whole question of whether to lie and when to lie is pretty complicated. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. And as I say, it's complicated. People can disagree, but I think we should bend to the extent possible to the side of telling the truth. But if we're considering lying, it ought to be for an unselfish purpose. It ought to be doing something that is pleasing to God, to save people's feelings, to help people to feel safe and to feel calm, to create a sense of peace. So there are circumstances in which maybe we should be willing to lie. You know something the psalmist says in Psalm 116, Kol ha'adam kozev. Every person lies. Every person lies. Although it says there he was panicky. The person writing the psalm, he felt distressed. He felt panicked. He felt overwhelmed with bad feelings. It said all people lie. Well, it's the truth, I think. Everybody at one time or another lies. Some more than other people, some less. But all of us one time or another lie. And so when we look at ourselves and say, is this a circumstance where maybe we've lied and we shouldn't? We should be honest with ourselves and not lie to ourselves about that and recognize when we've made a mistake and do tshuva, turn to God and correct our mistakes. But all people lie. And I don't think that should make us cynical. It should make us compassionate. All of us have flaws. All of us have flaws, but all of us have the potential for being good. So when somebody lies to us, or when we lie to somebody else, or we lie to ourselves, let's look at this with compassion. No, most of the time, lying is wrong. Sometimes it isn't, but let's look at it with honesty, with integrity, but also with compassion so we can make good changes. As always, I'm interested in what you think about my ideas. If you agree, disagree, have some questions, feel free to contact me, and have a sweet Shabbat. And we will continue with prayers. We're going to turn to page 253 in the prayer book, 253. And this is the Misha Beirach prayer. And also, if you have the big book, you'll turn to page 371 in the middle of the page. And among the people that we want to remember are our friends Danny and Judy, and a relative of one of our congregants, Francis, and my clients, all of them, but especially Stephanie and Beverly and Sylvia, and my friends Lisa and Steve, and my teacher and rabbi, Steve Sager, and Lucy Diner, my colleague and friend, a rabbi in the Triangle, and everybody else who needs prayers for health and healing. Let's sing together and pray together, Misha Beirach. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mikor Habaracha Le'imahotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabeirach imotenu mikor haberacha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Page 282, Aleinu. Everybody stand up. You also, if you have the big book, it's on page 586. And let's sing together. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch Hu. We've just praised the sovereign of the universe in Hebrew, and we've proclaimed the greatness of the Creator who set the Jewish people apart from other families of the earth, giving us a destiny that's unique among all the nations. For that reason, we've just bent our knees and bowed down, acknowledging the Supreme Sovereign, the Holy One of blessing. We hope all people will come together as one, worship God in unity as one, in each in their own way. And we express this hope, 287 or 591, middle of the page, the Ne'emar. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yiyeh Adonai yem echad, u'shemo echad. Mourner's Kaddish. If you have your book, turn to 294 or 598, and please remain standing. We want to remember the following people who have yard sites: Hetty Benson, Sarah Cohen, Sarah Schiller Garmise, Emily Shirago Rubin, Morris Mandel, Elsie Altborder, Donald Anselmo, Rose Wool Marks, Eugene Silverstein, Esther Fine Simon, and Tekla Gross. And we also want to remember my friend Gwen Keskin. And we also want to remember Terry Current. Their memories all are a blessing. Together, 294, 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'yolama divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'l'olamei olamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yolama v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, bring peace to all Israel, bring peace to all people, and let us say, Amen. I hope you have a little bit of wine and you can celebrate Kiddush with me, sanctifying the Shabbat day by enjoying wine and giving thanks to God for creating the fruit of the vine, the wine. 5 or 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav veratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'remeshit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zeicher litziyat mitzrayim Kivanu vacharta yotanu kidashta mikol hawamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'yava uveratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Bim, bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, 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 bum. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bum, bim, 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 bum. Bim, 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 bum, bum. Final blessing. I'm going to say the words. Repeat after me. If you're giving a blessing out, put your hands on the head or the shoulders of somebody you're blessing. If you're receiving the blessing, listen carefully and take it on. And if there's somebody not with you, send the blessing out to them. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai Panav Elecha V'yichuneka. May God's face light up towards you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha V'yasem Licha Shalom. May God's face be lifted up towards you, and may God grant you peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. So may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Have a great Shabbat, a great week. Be safe and enjoy the Shabbat. See you next week.